Okay. Hello guys, welcome to the show. To the Banter Blitz show. Still my connection to live stream is kind of shaky. It seems it takes like 1 minute or so to synchronize, and I hope it's now working fine. It's a little bit strange. I really don't know what it is. Anyway, we're up here for some fun, play some games, and got a couple of challenges going on here. And okay, first of all, I have to abort that game against Claudia. Let's skip that. Okay, and now let's get some challenges going. Okie dokie. So I hope everything works all right. Give me some feedback on the technical side of things. I would be very happy. It's as I said, a little bit strange, those technical issues. I've looked into it, but I cannot even reproduce them. It's kind of strange. Okay, so we got the knight of here. Not exactly something that I know. Zimba from the Netherlands. Yeah, I don't think he's 7 years old, but the Dutch kids always very, very dangerous. I know from all those years in the Dutch league. So I'm kind of improvising here. I know that h5 is some kind of idea, but I don't know if it's a good idea here. Preventing g4, and I'm scared. Yeah, I'm really a scared person when it comes to g4 and stuff. 95 suggested in the chat. You shouldn't give me any hints here. I'll go d5 now myself. Now that he has removed his knight, I think that shouldn't be a bad idea. It looks a bit shaky in the center, I have to say, but well, it's a Sicilian. It's not a very safe kind of opening. I'd like to get knight c4 in here. That would be fantastic. Or knight a4 in some cases. I wonder if... Yeah, queen to a5 was a move that irritated me somewhat. Okay, I'll jump into c4. This just looks too good not to play. Even though it's not entirely clear if I have something great here. If I take on f4, he probably will play knight takes. It looks very active. Can I do something active here? My queen move, moving the queen would be nice. I wonder if this is an idea, actually. He cannot take it. And it's a 3-minute game. Yes, it was cool to play Peter Svidler in his Banter Blitz show. I have played lots of top players over the years in Blitz, in online Blitz. I've played Nakamura, for example, a couple of, I think maybe like 20-30 times with over the years. I've played him when he was a kid, even in Bullet, in Blitz. So I have some experience, and usually you just get killed is the thing. They really are strong, those people. And Peter also played a good game against me, I think. So let's go g6. I've played really quite a lot of strong players. Nakamura, Rajabov. Quite a bit. I mean, you usually don't score. I mean, they are fantastically strong, but you get the odd win in. I've beaten Nakamura a couple of times, but it's like 4 wins for me and like 40 for him. So before you say, oh, he's beating Nakamura, I mean, yeah, it happened, but most of the time you just get your ass kicked, and really, really badly. Okay, so he wants to go to e4 here. Okay, let's go back. You get the knight to d6. It's a little bit awkward here on f5, but I didn't see another square. played Aronian in Online Blitz some years ago and lost all games. Lost against Caruana in Online Blitz. So I have a good number of losses. I had one really nice win against Nakamura that's also on my YouTube channel, where he, I think, played the opening in a little bit of a relaxed fashion. I could have won the queen. Yeah, it's possible. Not saying I couldn't, but I've got 40 seconds and that makes me real nervous, I have to admit. Oh, that's a good move. Okay, so take... Didn't see that. Let's go into that semi-pin. Okay, that would lose my queen actually. But this I can play. Oh. Wow! But I have this one, that's very lucky. Oh wow, this is slow. Wow. Phew. With 2 seconds at the end. Ooh, that was scary. Very, very scary. Yeah, okay, I have to adjust to 3 minutes, really. This is not my time control. Okie dokie. So let's get a couple of challenges in. I'm going to go for... how do I do that this time? Actually, I wanted to do the quizzes, yeah, but I haven't prepared anything. I'm not sure that I can do it without any prep. So I'll just go with the older challenges first. Okay, Tino 12. Is there a name? If he's really 12, that's a really high rating. Okay, he wants to do it like Svidler did. The same line that Peter played against me. And I have not yet studied it, so it's not a bad bet. Okay, so how do I do that? Rook b8 maybe? Video not loading. Yeah, refresh usually helps. I wonder if bishop f4 now is a move that helps white. I like knight to b6, but maybe he has got e5 then. Okay, now I can do that. Knight a5, I have knight takes d5, so he has to trade or move it again. Okay, so now I can get some trades and that I really welcome. It's an important thing that in all kinds of Benoni positions, and this is essentially a Benoni where you have the B file open, in all kinds of positions of that type, you want to trade pieces with black. 1 or 2 pairs of minor pieces. Oh wait, I could have... Yeah, I was thinking it might have been some tactic on b2, but not really. The Banco repertoire I'm working on will be more like an ebook type, but it's a non-Chess24 project, so I cannot really go into details here. So knight e5, bishop e2 probably coming. Okay, I go rook e8 here. Yeah, I'm not very knowledgeable when it comes to what browser is best for those shows and so on. Don't know. So bishop e2. How do I initiate some counterplay in this position? Queen to b6, rook b1, queen b4, d4 could be an option. Currently it says perfect streaming for me. I mean, it's always difficult to say what's going on. Queen to d4 is my idea here. At least one possible idea. Or just taking on c3. Knight e5 c4 is also an option. Yeah, and this comes into play now. Bishop h6. Maybe I can go back to h8. You know, the Banco is something that, to be honest, I just tried in my online Blitz games without knowing any theory, and it worked pretty well, so I decided to give that a closer look, and it was a kind of a step-by-step process. Well, thinking I could give it a closer look, I thought, okay, may as well put together a repertoire that other people can use as well. So it's really not, I'm not an expert by any means. I'm just playing this and yeah, and experiment a little bit, but I don't know it yet, really. I'm playing it mostly by ear, but this works pretty well, so it's an interesting thing maybe for me to try also in more serious games, at least after some study. It doesn't have the greatest of reputations, but I don't really see something fundamentally wrong with it, unless you are playing in a world championship match, let's say, where you probably don't want to be a pawn down all that often. So okay, let's let's get some activity rolling here. f5. He cannot take this. Yes, and now I can increase my activity here considerably. If he takes with the knight, bishop f5, f3. An issue here is that, okay, I'll play this first. Someone says he's getting a blank page he tries to watch. Yeah, it's always, as I said, difficult to comment on that, because for most people it does work. I know that doesn't help you, but it's really nothing that I feel I can address in any way. So, okay, I try to pile up more on the b3 pawn. Yes, he has this, huh? Okay. But I will have a pretty active position. All my pieces Have you been in Planten und Blumen lately? Where is that? Or what is that? Planten und Blumen. I mean, it hurts like plants and flowers. I mean, my Dutch is not all that great, but I understand that. I don't think I've been there. I mean, where is that actually? I don't really know what you're referring to. Rook a1 was surprising. He's getting right into those discoveries. But okay, I can just win this pawn, and I'm pretty happy to. So I'm not searching for much else. Okay, fairly active position. How do I finish this off? I wonder. c4? No, doesn't really look all that clear. How do I do that? The knight is nicely positioned, but maybe I can improve it somehow. g5, knight g6. Not sure. Okay. There is no tactic here, it seems. Okay, so here I can play a rook up to b1 and try to go for a pin. Not sure about this. Okay, so I'm trading this off. And I have some additional ideas like this. Yeah, now I have new weak squares that I can send the knight to, f3 in particular. Let's close it. It's probably easier. Yeah, a good game, Tino. That was a tough game and probably equal for a very long time. It's a park in Hamburg. Okay. Okay, well, I don't live in Hamburg. In fact, I've only been there very, very rarely. I've been there last year to record my Ruy Lopez series for Chess24, but this was the first time for ages that I've been to Hamburg. I kind of like it. I like Hamburg, but this is just an impression from being there very, very briefly. So yeah, a6. This is a somewhat strange line, but I think it's actually quite playable. It looks a bit weird to invest this move, but a point is that c takes, knight b5. Doesn't make much sense now. So it has some points, and I'm threatening e5, d4 now. Yes, this is the simplest way for white to play, but I don't think it gives him any edge. Okay. Bishop to d7, or bishop d7, queen b3 could be possible, might be possible. But knight c6 looks wrong, so I probably have to play that move. Maybe he could have taken, e5, queen to b7, takes, he takes the rook. Not sure if that works for me. Knight c6, queen takes, doesn't feel totally sufficient. e5, queen b7 takes. This is the critical variation. Bishop there. It probably doesn't work. And the worst thing is, this is a 3-minute game. Okay, anyway. Which is my favorite defense? Well, that depends on defense to what. Well, I've written a book on the Nimzo, and I really think it's a fantastic opening. So probably the Nimzo Indian. If you talk about a d4 defense against e4, I'm a 1e5 guy, but I tend to mix it in my tournament games. Sometimes it depends on the opposition. Okay, so he wants to move the knight, I guess. You know, the board is gone again. I really hate that, and I don't know what that is. It really is very weird. Why isn't that? Now it's back again. This is a fantastic thing to happen, and if you are in a 3-minute game where you have no time whatsoever. Not sure if knight c6 is working actually. It's not an ideal move, and I'm down to 1 minute. Oh, strong move by Swimmer Chess here. Oh my. Yeah, that happens if you get technical difficulties at the wrong moment. Shoot. What do I think about the French? Yeah, French defense is a very interesting defense, and it is quite popular on the club level. It's not played all that often on the higher level, but there is no objective reason for that. I mean, okay, it is on a very meta level worse than some other defenses, but that's really not a big issue. "26 seconds. Now, some things went wrong in this game. Quite some things. I lost some time with that bloody technical difficulty. He's got a very weird situation there with the bishop. I'm threatening rook c1 or this one. Yeah, he will probably win this on time. Position isn't even that clear here. Threatening mate, that's cool. How does he stop that? He's in a mating net here, but probably will win on time. I managed. Whoa. Whew. Hui. That was more than close. What's the difference between good and playable openings? That's a very funky question. That's really not easy to say. I mean, good is tough to say what good means. What good and playable means. Playable means it's possible to play this opening without being worried that you're just getting killed if the other guy knows stuff. There are different levels of reliability certainly for openings. You have a tier A, let's say, which is good enough for the super best players in the world, so that they know if someone is sitting there preparing like crazy, that they still can play it. And this is getting down to, then they have like the tier B. This would be maybe stuff like the French defense or some sidelines, let's say, that you feel you can play, but it's not something that you maybe want to play if the other guy has invested, I don't know, 100 hours on it. And it gets down to less serious options that you maybe just want to play in blitz when you know, okay, they cannot sit there for a minute and remember. And this is how you can classify those openings a little bit. For example, if you take the Banco, this is an opening where you sacrifice a pawn early on, and this already is something where if you are on the super top level, there's some suspicion there. Yeah, why do you want to give up a pawn all that early? Black has tons of other options for those guys. Oh, what's that? That's a big pawn here on f2, and it's a fantastic discovery that I've got coming up. On the other hand, the Banco is an opening that has a tremendous practical value, especially for quicker time controls, and you have easy plans in the Banco. You know that you often have an initiative, and this all with a black opening. That's pretty cool. So it's great for normal, let's say, players if you're not like 2800 and plan to play World Championship match. No, I've never considered the Albin counter gambit in any serious game because it just doesn't feel right. And not even in Blitz. Maybe I've played it in I have a format on my chess channel called 3-Minute Madness, where I play somewhat shaky openings on purpose if they are aggressive. And maybe I've done it in this format, but even there, I don't know. It really feels like it's just a bad opening. I know that Morozovic played it, but this was also quite a while ago. Yeah, thanks Retap81 for the game. He ran into this early castles and h3, this g5 attack, which is dangerous for white. Oh, there's a question. Is it a good idea to play seldom things in openings like Rapport often does, like 1 b3 or e4 c5 knight a3? Yeah, sure, why not? I mean, if you feel like you like those positions, you can go for those offbeat openings once in a while. I don't know if you really want to do it on a very regular basis, but especially like an opening like 1 b3 is definitely okay for white. White is not risking to be worse. So why not play it? 1 b3 is something that I have played myself quite a bit in my junior days, especially when I felt like my opponent is a good has good theoretical knowledge. I often felt it can be an idea to get them out of their... Oh, that's a knight. I'll take a knight. Get them out of their comfort zone. So b3, why not? e4, c5, knight a3, I cannot really comment upon. I've never looked at this. It looks weird, but that doesn't necessarily mean it is bad. Yeah, here in this game, I'm just a piece up. And I will now try to use those central squares. I'm very skeptical about early gambits, I have to say. I think those more strategic surprise weapons like b3, they are very, very viable. Or e4, c5, b3, this is a very, very okay opening. There's nothing wrong with that at all. And so he tries for some counterplay, but it's just hard to play a piece down, considering also that the bishop on g7 is a pretty much dead piece. I think it's a common misconception by, let's say, amateur players, and I really think this is a very wide range of players, even if you think about people with 2,300, and so I would still put that under amateur players, or even myself maybe. I mean, I'm a professional chess teacher, but I'm not a professional player. This is a fork. Yeah, what I wanted to say is that you don't really have to see the top class players and copy their openings all the time and think, okay, this what they play must be the best stuff. It is very good what they play, of course. Okay, good game, Phenomen, but your knight. What they play is obviously good. It's very researched and everything, but it does not mean that this is the only thing possible. There are so many openings that can be played, and it's not just the Berlin all over the time, or the Queen's Gambit declined or whatever. On a somewhat more human level, you can play all kinds of things, and quite often, to be perfectly honest, the openings not played at the top level are more interesting, far more interesting to play. So you should not just say, okay, I'll just copy what the top guys do. Okay, I went c4 against Colin Kane. If I were on the Kayakin team to help him prepare for the match against Magnus, what would you suggest? Yeah, I'm not sure. Depending on your beliefs, get a copy of the Bible and pray a lot, or some other religious text that fits your liking. No, this was a pretty stupid response. I mean, Kayakin is a very serious opponent for Carlsen, but it mostly, I think, will come to if he gets some good things in the opening. It really is like that. They have to try to get Carlsen under. Oops, King F8. Wow, that's certainly a mouse slip. I don't even know how to propose a take back. I would give it. I'm sorry. I mean, if he suggests a take back, I'm happy to take it. But I really don't know. Yeah, he says mouse. I don't know. I'm just saying I don't know how take backs works. No, I'm not saying that if you're an amateur player, you should avoid theory or anything. You cannot take back moves. Okay. I wasn't saying that you should avoid theory. It's just that the range of things that you can play is just a lot wider than what you see at the top level. For example, if they play the Sicilian, it will be, I mean, there will be the same lines. It will be the Najdorf, or it will be the Taimanov, maybe, some lines. But let's say the classical Sicilian is just as playable, or the Dragon. If you are not like 2,900, why not play the Dragon? All this is playable stuff, and you have such a wide area of things to choose from. It's not that what the top guys play. It's not they're not the only options. Okay, what I played here is also not particularly great, to be honest. I think, considering his king on evade, I could have done something better here. Taking on g7 looks like a completely wrong idea. Okay, I badly need some water here. It's again immensely hot here in my office. Okay, yeah, he's right. He can go queen to f6. So much for exploiting a mouse slip. Okay. Okay, then I'm taking myself. I'm still a little bit better. Because this knight on c6 is annoying. Yeah, that's true. Shaba is saying amateurs they're making the mistake of both learning too much and too little theory. There are both both versions. This is true, yeah. This is true to some extent. No, it's not necessarily better to pick a 2,600 guy opening repertoire than, for example, Kramnik. It's not better, but often if you want to learn an opening, it makes sense to look at games that are not on the super highest level, but on one or two steps below that. For example, if you want to learn how an opening, let's say a black opening, you want to play for a win with the black pieces, and you look at some line, let's say, of the Sicilian, and you don't quite understand yet how it works. So it's better to look at some games by, let's say, 2,600 GM playing in an open event than to look at the games of a super top player, because in the super top players' games, they will very often just both play their prepared moves and make a draw, or have some kind of they just compare their notes. well, if you have a 2600 guy and he plays an IM, he has to win the game with black. And he will show you ideas how you can get a fight from these positions. Often those ideas won't be played on the highest level because they might not like 100% sound, and they cannot afford that. But you pick up ideas, and those ideas you cannot pick up from the super top level guys. You can would be able to pick them up if they would play like some weaker players once in a while, but it doesn't happen. It happens at the Olympiad, which makes for interesting games, by the way. You have guys like Wesley So scoring very high, or some other top players. Krumnik scored very highly, but he had very strong opposition, of course, on the first boards. But there's a question: is it a good idea to watch blitz or rapid players or rapid games from the top players, because they are somewhat similar to 2000 ELO? I mean, okay, if you give a top player like the 2700 player 30 minutes per game, and you compare it to tournament chess, he will still have an extremely high playing strength. It would be a lot higher than 2000. But yeah, in rapid games, they often try things that they feel are a little bit too shaky for their regular games. By the way, this game here, Colin Kane is putting up an absolutely great defensive effort. I mean, I probably didn't really put the utmost pressure on him, but he defends it fantastically. The best bullet player in the world, that depends on the time control, I think. In 1-0 without increment, it is clearly Nakamura. If you are on 1.1+1, for example, I mean, what Magnus Carlsen did in those blitz battle matches against Grishuk and I think it was Grishuk and Petrosian was extremely impressive. I've never seen a similar level in bullet chess. It's just fantastic what he did. It was playing with a very, very low error rate and making really huge pressure. It's fantastic, really. So Pirz is saying his highest rating was 2070 and he can only play one opening. Is that the Pirz defense? Am I guessing correctly? Probably. Yeah, you really don't know. On that level, you don't know much openings. You don't need to know all that much. So what is there something that I can try at least here in this game? Maybe some pressure on the A-pawn. What a fantastic defensive effort here by Colin up to this, and now he runs into a fork. He used lots of time, but he defended very, very well. I mean, he made a mouse slip early on, and I still couldn't exploit it. Fantastic. Fantastic player by Colin. Okay, so I'm continuing here from the bottom and see what happens. Like Moby. I've got Moby here. Okay, Moby. Yeah, I think it's mostly practice. There's a question. Someone says he plays decent over the board blitz, but blunders online a lot. Yeah, it's a matter of board vision. Yeah, two-dimensional and three-dimensional. I have the opposite problem sometimes because I just play a lot online, and whenever I go back to playing over the board, I need some adjustment time to real pieces and in three-dimensional view. It's just a matter of practice. Yeah, this is what I have in the proposed repertoire. I always take on d5. Yeah, this is a very solid setup for black. Can be recommended. We get very likely we get some hanging pawns here. Okay, I don't mind those trades. E4 is something that I would like to play here. Okay, I'm starting with this. Okay, well, I can go F5, right? I just forgot that he can go F5. Or F6 for that matter. I was thinking I'll get this back anyway, but that's not true. He's got bishop A6 then. Oh. Yeah, recording the video series in 2 languages was quite some work. He overlooked this, I think, unless there's a big trick here. I will win the exchange. Yeah, maybe he doesn't even have this bad a position here. Knight to D5, for example. And I don't want to lose the queen. Maybe C5 is an option here. That threatens bishop D5. Oh, C5. Interesting. Yeah, 2 then rather than 1 length. It was some work. The main thing that was a little bit off-putting is that you have to tell everything twice. Yeah, it's I mean, you have told the story, let's say, and then you have to tell it again. This was sometimes a little bit yeah, a little bit boring, let's say, if you have to do everything twice. Yeah, that's a good question. Is it a good idea for amateurs to play openings that are somewhat similar in nature when you with E4 and D4? So, like play the Caro-Kann and the Slav, for example, which are somewhat comparable structures. This is not a bad idea in general to do that. It helps a little bit with motifs and patterns. It's not so relevant for stronger players who should be more versatile with their structures. So here, am I not just winning stuff? I can actually take D5 here, right? Okay, he's got D2. And then Rook C6 is possible. Yeah, should work, right? There's someone over 3,600 in bullet. Oh, wow. That's pretty high. I didn't play that much bullet here on Chess24. I have to say, I don't play much bullet there in general. I just tried it out, and I think, what's my rating? 2,640. Yeah, D2, I have rook takes C6, so that looks fairly convincing, I think. I don't see anything here for black. Yeah, I think Moby, you had a good position there, I think. It only went downhill early on, in the last couple of moves. Even after the exchange got lost, you had, I think, a fairly good position. Definitely in Blitz chess. I mean, absolutely. So, who do we have? Let's go. Marcel Kirchler is also in the chat. So, Marcel, do you know my you know the weak spots of my my videos or not. Let's see. Okay, and I'm not saying they have very clear weak spots. I hope to have avoided that, but it's basically unavoidable that there's some kind of hole somewhere. Yeah, the Pirts and the King's Indian are somewhat different, of course. The thing that they have in common is they're both dark squared defenses, and that makes them somewhat related. Oh, bishop d7. That wasn't. Oh, that was intended. Okay, I'll play in the center, as you should do. If there's something happening on the flank, let's see that you get something in the center going. Actually, queen takes is interesting for bishop f4. That is a quick way to mobilize. Yeah, black, he has spent lots of time there, and there is no clear benefit. Looks like the d pawn is almost lost. Yeah, I think you can almost skip the you can skip the almost. It will get lost. Maybe knight c6, bishop d6, rook d8 or something like that, some pin. That's possible. Okay, so we play an ending here. How to do it? It would be nice to have this safely protected. Maybe start with this move. e5, knight g4. Okay. Yeah, there's a question by GB2284. He has the idea to study the Grunfeld, but thinks that many people will avoid it with white, with c4 and knight f3 stuff. Yeah, that's true. But still, if you tackle 1d4 with the Grunfeld, that's already pretty good achievement. So I wouldn't be that put off by this fact. Grunfeld is a great opening if you like the positions and feel you're up to the challenge to study quite a lot. Then it's a good idea to do it. I mean, don't underestimate. Oh, this is a big hole on f6. Don't underestimate the theoretical workload. It is quite substantial. Yeah, he only has g7 for the knight, and then knight f6 will hit pretty badly. That's a question. What about the Cambridge Springs defense in the Queen's Gambit decline? If that is okay. Yeah, Marcel resigned. Yeah, it's impossible here to avoid further material losses. Yeah, probably you shouldn't lose all that much time in the opening with this Queen c8 business. That looks very tricky to handle. So who do we have here? We have Jan 2500, 550 something. Lots of fives. Yeah, good game, Marcel. Yeah, the Cambridge Springs. I think this is one of those things I'm not totally sure about. I think there were some new ideas in recent years, and I'm not sure how this panned out, to be honest. Black was under pressure at some point, but maybe this is fixed. I don't really know, to be honest. I don't think it's something to be super worried about. The opening cannot be terribly bad, but I'm not 100% sure about it, to be honest, what the situation is. What do I think about the Nimzowitsch defense? e4, knight c6. I guess. The Nimzo Indian is brilliant, of course. The Nimzowitsch defense is a little bit less brilliant. I don't know actually. You have some issues there. One is that a lot of it is just transpositional. For example, e4, knight c6, knight f3. I don't think it's a good idea to play something else than e5 there, probably. I mean, maybe you can go d6 or something, but it doesn't feel all that attractive. And there's obscure stuff, but I don't quite know. It's probably nothing that should be played on a super regular basis. Yeah, what's happening here? Knight c7, queen e4 check or something? Very strange. What's more aggressive against the Alapin? d5 or knight f6? Cannot tell, really. I don't think there's a great difference in sharpness, let's say. The position types are different, of course. Maybe I should have actually taken on e2. I wasn't sure here. White is, of course, very okay in this position now. He played a very good opening here up to this point. White has to be a little bit on the lookout for that knight. That it does not get trapped at some point. He still has g5 and b5, so it should not happen, but still. Okay. He might have... I wonder if this is a move. Maybe taking to unbalance a little bit, give him a double pawn. The knight doesn't have that great squares to go to. Knight, well, knight d4 I can take somewhat, but even that isn't that brilliant. Okay, so I can take, yeah, so I'll do that. Chess24 has a lot of anti-Sicilian material, but nothing for black. Really? I'm not 100% informed about every single video series. There is a mainline Sicilian stuff, right? Robin van Kampen and I think Sopico has also done. She did a what was that? A Najdorf repertoire, right? But there's no anti-Sicilian. Well, Chess24, if you want an anti-Sicilian series, you have my number. Yeah, this is a pretty comfortable endgame now. I think the d5 pawn is weak. Maybe taking it wasn't all that great, actually. Yeah. I wonder under which circumstances I actually want to take the pawn. I would rather trade rooks here, actually. That would be nice to do. There's a question here by GB2284 about the French defense with 3 knight c3 knight c6. Yeah, I have an opinion because this is a specialty of a friend of mine. He has played this a lot, and I actually think he's probably the even though it's not so well known, he's probably one of the leading experts in the world on the line. Anyway, he showed me quite a number of ideas, and this is the kind of thing that is certainly playable if you know your stuff, but it's the kind of thing that will go terribly wrong if you don't know exactly what you're doing. So it's something where yeah, intense study will really help you, and you will catch many people. I should have gone king d4 here, right? You will catch many people completely off guard because it's such a rare approach. But it's not something that you should just like play and hope for the best. It really requires some study. You're breaking some rules, let's say, and this is why you should have a close look there. Knight d2, knight c6, by the way, is also very interesting. That's an excellent weapon to play for win, by the way. If you are looking for a way to play for win against knight d2, knight c6 is very good for that. Ah, yeah, that's true. Ilya Zarogatsky is also an expert on the knight c6 French. That's true. I think it's kind of funny that he plays the Benko Gambit and this kind of French. They are the most different openings that you can almost think of. Okay, so who do we have here? Mr. Normal Name. Yeah, I played the Bronstein-Larsen Caro-Kann quite a bit on my channel for a while. Was that just a phase? Yeah, in a way. It's still kind of, I don't think it's terribly bad. It was, I studied it for a while because I had some project back then for a website. And I tried it out, see if it really holds up, let's say, at least in Blitz. But it's not so much on the radar anymore. However, I have a chess student who plays it, and he gets decent enough positions. He's a 2150 player roughly, so okay, so the Benko with queen to a5. Let's see what he comes up with. It doesn't seem like he knows the opening. Bishop d2 is the move here. Bishop d3 can be answered with knight d5. That happened in a game, in a Blitz game, I think, between Boris Gelfand and Magnus Carlsen. So it can happen to all of us. Bishop d3, knight d5, e d5, bishop c3, black wins material. Yeah, Jan, also thanks for the game, Jan2555. I don't have any particular tips or hints for you. It's just a little bit difficult to make a profound analysis in just this quickly after a game. So I'd have to look at the game a little bit more. Okay, maybe with the knight. That could be an interesting way of playing it. d3 is fairly weak here. So let's see if my knight can get into white's position quickly. See, he actually encourages that. Okay. Well, I have to go. I mean, if I don't go to d3, what's the point of all of that? So, rook here. And let's see now. If he goes b3, he doesn't. Okay, so probably try to bring the other knight. It's important that if you go c4 in any kind of Benoni or Banco, knight d4 to c6 can be an option, but this is currently prevented. Aha. I don't really want to trade. Probably I have to. It's not not a big issue, let's say, but that wasn't on my agenda. f5 is interesting to undermine the center. Let's do it. Yeah, but here I can take c3, right? This is the thing, yeah. There's always some kind of pressure out of this opening. Not always. I mean, sometimes things go bad for black, but it's just annoying to face in blitz chess. It's really with white and blitz. I also don't like to play much against the Banco. Yeah, a good game up to that point, I think. Mr. Normal Name. Who else do we have on here? We have Giovanni here. Giovanni. Let's go, Giovanni. What did I... Yeah, it's Giovanni. Okay. Candidate master from Colombia. David Santiago Lopez Ramirez. He looks awfully young, so probably dangerous. Yeah, I have to promote my repertoire. Yeah, it's also, I have to say that I've tried this out a lot in blitz in recent weeks, and I'm scoring with this really, really well. So it's not that it's just for promotional reasons only. I really think it's a very decent option. Okay. That early capture in knight d7 is interesting. I'm going knight e5 here, right? Knight e5, queen d4. I can take and play queen to a4, right? Knight e5, queen d4. I have forgotten that. Yeah, you can also start queen c2. Queen d4, knight takes, queen a4 should work. Shaba asks, are there any lines in my English line? Are there any lines in my repertoire where white has a space disadvantage? I don't think there's a serious space disadvantage anywhere. There are one or two lines where you can get a reverse Benoni, but with a couple of extra tempi, and I'm not a huge fan of those positions per se, but I think the ones that I ultimately suggested are good. I really think they are good. There's a question regarding amount of theory you have to learn versus 1e4. Which one is more demanding, e5, c6 or e6? Very, very difficult to say. I think if you are going for no, I have no answer. Sorry, I have no answer. Maybe e5. Maybe e5. Would be the normal answer, but I'm not totally sure. I think in the Caro-Kann always had a reputation of being not so theory heavy, but if the other guy, if they play the advanced variation, you have to know stuff and know it and know this really, really well. Otherwise, you just get killed. So I'm not so sure that this applies anymore. That the Caro-Kann is easier to learn. Yeah, I don't really think there is a clear answer. I know that Giovanni is doing a good job here. This much I know. I don't quite know here. Yeah, this is, he will repeat. So I'll go here. Okay, so my idea here is to put the rook on c4 and try to win that pawn. Not sure that I manage. If I take now, he has knight e3. Maybe I can do this, huh? g4, he takes it, king g2, rook back, and then I take c5. Maybe. He has rook e3. He has rook e3 here. He will find that. Yeah. Now king d6. I'm making mistakes here. I don't know if this is so dangerous, to be honest. It's still a bit tricky. With that pawn so weak. Yeah, I can check him here though. And I'm a pawn down. Ha! Counting is a good virtue for a chess player. I didn't count here. There's a question about lines suggested. Oh, he offers me a draw. Yeah, I have to. I'm a pawn down. Okay, very good game, Giovanni. I think you played that very well. I was in trouble. Absolutely. There's a question. There are chess without blinkers variations. Yeah, I think you mean what they often call secrets of opening surprises, SOS weapons. There are quite a couple that I think are probably playable. The line that you mentioned there in the French is definitely playable. The two knights variation, e4, e6, knight f3, d5, knight c3. This is actually a line that I sometimes recommend to students of mine if they want something simple against the French to play. If they feel a bit overwhelmed by main lines, this is not such a bad choice. Naxo chess. Is that the Philippines? That's Chile. Oh, I'm sorry. It's Chile. Yeah. Pretty bad. Okay, so we are entering some mainline theory here in the two knights defense. And this is basically what I know. I don't know much more. I usually play bishop to c5 on move 3, but sometimes mix it up. Yeah, I have the idea to go f5, e4 here, gain more space. Bad news is I'm a pawn down. I don't like that so much. But okay. I'm just going forward here. Can always retreat later if necessary. So he probably will go with some d3 here. Yeah, I don't know if this is all that great here, to be honest. d3 looks very strong for white. I feel that this is not enough compensation, not at all actually. This one, I guess d4, huh? Yeah. You can play d4, of course, or bishop d2. This is a book mentioned, Opening Repertoire for Rapid and Blitz. Yeah, it has some interesting lines. It's quite an interesting book. I mean, I think many of the mentioned lines can not just be played in Rapid and Blitz, but also in tournament chess. It depends a little bit. It's a mixed bag. Oh, my knight on a5. What am I doing with this piece here? This looks really bad. Yeah, some of the coverage in that book is a little bit too light to employ those openings in very serious games. But okay, let's try to get something active going. But it's definitely good enough for the occasional use or for mentioned rapid and blitz purposes. Play for win as black, French or Caro-Kann? I think the French is probably a bit better for that, but it's not a clear-cut thing. So he's playing well here, right? Naxo Chess or what? It's rated 1300 and plays great here. Queen h5. Or am I not understanding things correctly? I can actually take this and play g6, right? Trap this. Or does he have some counter punch? I mean, my position is so strange. It can easily be that he has some cool reply. Like the knight on a5 looks like someone put it there and forgot about it. Like those, I don't know, forgotten suitcase at an airport or something. Phew. Still don't like my position, I have to say. Yeah, but it should be okay, really. This is why I went bishop to e6 to support the knight. Yeah, I wonder if bishop a5 is good here or not. I think probably, I don't know. Is it going rook b4 or something? I don't know. It looks okay. Yeah, here I was thinking I just move the knight. Okay, let's move it. Sorry, move the bishop. Maybe he has some kind of e5 available. That could be possible. Like e5 here. Sorry, d5. Oh, here I can take d4, and this I have to do. It's too important. And now that knight is actually doing something. It prevents rook b7. This is always good. You have some rotten piece, and it actually has some function. Yeah, Naxo Chess resigned. I think you had a very good position out of the opening there. I probably misplayed it terribly. Okay, so who do we have? I have someone I have not played yet, maybe. I have Schwarz. Played him. I haven't played this guy. Who is that? Fukurokuyo. Fukurokuyo. Okay. It's a pest, right? They all play the bloody Italian game nowadays. It's really unnerving. I'm not playing knight f6 here. Can I play something crazy? Come on, I'm playing something crazy here. I'm just so bored with this opening. I mean, this is probably complete rubbish. Knight g5 looked more critical to me, but we'll see. Yeah, I get the Italian game all of the time at the moment. I mean, like every other game, and it's and the worst thing is I'm not playing it well. I have problems with this opening, and I'm kind of fed up with playing against it all of the time. With the rook. With the bloody rook. Why with the rook? I can even take here, take e4. I cannot tell you. There's a question if the Queen D8 Scandinavian is fully sound. I don't know. Magnus Carlsen played it against Caruana, yeah, 2 years ago. So, I mean, I don't think it's probably something that you can refute outright. It's probably something where you just are a little bit worse and have to be okay with it. If he takes it, and I'm in DE5, I wonder if knight e5 is something. Okay, just goes back. So I castle long. This is cool, yeah? Castling long against that totally dreadfully boring Italian game. And now we're bishop g4 and go for it. That would be fun. Maybe. That's a fantastic position for black. At least compared to that, yeah, absolutely sleep-inducing procedure you have usually. Okay, what is that? Just knight e7. I don't want it to take on c6. I mean, this is clear. Yeah, I thought bishop e4 is more or less... I mean, the only move is a bit strong, but... back to b3 cannot be all that great, I would assume. That's a bit mysterious. What is the point here? I mean, DE5, DE5, Rook E5, that's... What? Are you serious? What the beep? That's one of the most incorrect sacrifices I've seen for a while. Still have to refute it totally. Okay, so I will take here. And now, how to do this? It's still a fairly open king position, I have to say. Yeah, I played the two knights, but most of the time they just play d3 anyway, and you get the same kind of boring position. And if they go knight g5, I'm a pawn down and don't know what to do. So the two knights is not an ideal solution for me. Probably the solution would be to just study the Italian for real. Okay, do I take there and just trade stuff? Yeah. And maybe rook c7 here, by the way. It could have been interesting. Not sure if that was a fantastic idea to trade the light squared bishop. I mean, I'm really not sure about it. a6 is hanging. I'm not doing a good job here. Absolutely not. Ooh. I can check. Oh my god. Now he's really going after me here. At least I didn't have much choices. Okay, so rook b4, bishop b6. This is not a perpetual check. It really isn't. And I also have d5. Okay. Okay. Rook e5, sorry, knight e5 is part of this now. Queen e8, rook b3 is a draw. Queen d6, check, bishop b6, rook b6 blunders the queen. Knight e5, that's not something that I should have allowed. Okay, so maybe this one. Okay, so let's be ready for knight e5, that I can actually take it. Okay, so I won by checkmate at the end. Very good fight by Fukurokuyo. That's a difficult name. And that wasn't clear at all. I mean, taking on b7, it turned out to be somewhat dangerous. I really have to say. Okay, so we're going to go for the final game here. Going for Florestan here with black. Yeah, thanks for the game, Fukurokuyo. Let's see what Florestan is up to. Okay, tomorrow there are 2 Banter Blitzes. Knight c3, okay. It's a funky line. Yeah, this will be the final game. I guess we are on for more than almost 90 minutes already. So he jumped to c5 without being provoked. What do I do here? e5? That's the most straightforward way of doing it. But you can certainly argue that h6 is less useful than bishop f5, maybe. Okay, but what about this? I can take c5 here. I'm not sure that I want, but I could do it. Maybe knight f6 is interesting. Difficult. Andrew Martin recommended the line e4, c6, d4, d5, e5, h5. Anyone heard of this line? No, I never heard of it. And to be honest, it looks terrible. Why would you go h5 there? Sorry, that really looks like complete nonsense. But okay, he probably has invested some time in it. So without really looking at what he proposes, it's difficult. But it looks terrible, frankly. Terrible. Okay. I don't know what this is actually here. It's kind of interesting. I mean, I'm attacking e5 and currently e3 and c5. So I don't know. Maybe he should go back. Yeah, this is possible. This is that's the most sophisticated answer, let's say. I have b6 and c5. No, it doesn't transpose to a Gurgenidze, e5, h5, because white has not played f4, and this is a big difference, as any f6 move would weaken g6 terribly. So, I'm just saying, Okay, so c5, he has h3 actually. Yeah, okay, I'll go for it anyway. This is interesting. I don't know. This speeds up my development. Wait, not so quick. No, actually, bishop d7, knight d7, h3, I can take e5. I have long castles there. I wonder what he's thinking about. Isn't he basically forced to take? Now h3, I will take e5. Rook e1, castles long. This is a funky thing. That's an interesting move. Take here. I can also take this. There's still questions. Yeah, that's really cool. Today, many interesting questions. Going for knight c4 here. The question: would you recommend the Rusov gambit? Well, the problem with the Rusov gambit, which is e4, e5, bishop c4, knight f6, d4, e4, knight f3, is that knight c6 gets into a good line of the two knights where white has nothing, and black has bishop b4 check, which is also kind of interesting. I'm a bit skeptical about it, to be honest. I also wonder what I intend to do with my knight here. After it is taken on b2. Yeah, I play the Caro-Kann in tournaments sometimes. I really cannot say. I think in the Caro-Kann, black can play lots of stuff. The Karpov line with knight d7 is still totally okay. I would think. At least that's what I heard. And I didn't look at it. I don't play the Caro-Kann all that often. I mostly play it when yeah, this is risky, right? When I have an idea what my opponent is doing, and I especially wouldn't play it if they play the advanced variation, because this is not something where I have some strong theory or any theory. Okay, so what's this here? I need an escape square on d1. Difficult, this language. So I can even go rook d1. Yeah, that would be a funky move. Let's do it. There's a question how, if federation changes, should be be that easy for chess players. Yeah, obviously motivated by the US gold medal, which certainly there was certainly some help, or it was helpful to have gotten Wesley So and Caruana and so on the team. I don't quite know. I mean, it is a little bit. It feels a little bit strange, those federation changes. We had something also in Germany when Arkady Neidich switched to the to Azerbaijan, but I understand why people do it. They think they have better prospects, more money, whatever, and they all have to make a living. So I don't really. Oh, what's happening here? He's getting this. Okay, I don't really put any blame or anything like that on the players at all. I mean, this is very understandable, I think. He's got c3 there, right? No, I'm going back here. I don't know. To be honest, I don't have a very clear opinion there. I think it's good that he's defending this well. I don't want to play c3. He's trying to irritate me here time-wise. This is the point. Okay, so he resigned. I'm a little bit ahead on the clock anyway. Oh, like 11 to 1.8. Okay, yeah, thanks. Yeah, Nisse Piano changing federation to Germany is, I think, in some way, a little bit, let's say, comparable to the Caruana switch. I mean, Caruana was born in the US and lived there for most of his life. Nisse Piano at least has a German father or mother. I'm not quite sure. He's like he speaks fluent German and so on. It's not like there's no relation whatsoever to the country he switched to. In general, I'm not very passionate about this kind of subject. I mean, there have been some articles about the Olympiad. I mean, the real Olympiad that was in Rio, and there was actually suggestions why not to get rid of the national teams and just make other kind of teams there. Why not make Team Amazon and Team Apple and Team whatever? Just like let them compete for sponsors. And maybe it's a terrible idea because I don't know. Yeah, maybe it's a terrible idea, but I think from a purely money point of view for athletes, this could be an idea. I mean, if let's say some good sportsmen get paid by a certain company, I mean, they also get paid by their countries, and usually not that well. I don't know. It's maybe it's a terrible idea, but I don't think it's a bad idea to think about concepts that have yet been tried before. I mean, it doesn't hurt to think about it. You don't have to do every kind of idea that is proposed. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the Banter Blitz session. Yeah, there were tons of questions, and that is really, really nice. Okay, guys, I'm back next week, same time, I guess. Looking forward to the next Banter Blitz session. Thanks for joining, and thanks for being so active in the chat. Bye-bye.